What's up, man?
Episode 3, and we got a special guest today. Another SCAP graduate. You know, I always looked at it like when we had people in there, you had people who were above you and below you, but you were one big family. So you had a bunch of like older brothers and little brothers. And here I've got my two younger brothers, bro. A lot more successful than me. You know, it's like the more successful younger brothers who just go about and crushing it. So today we got our boy, Hillel, the chainsaw presser.
I forgot about the chainsaw. It has
Are you
been
kidding
too
me, bro?
long.
I think now it's more like Presser the Protector.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll,
yeah.
we'll we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I want to ask you first, how'd you get the chainsaw nickname?
Yeah, it's funny. So growing up, I was very close at that point with my uncle, who was one of the first personal injury attorneys to ever advertise on TV. And he went by Jim the Hammer Shapiro. And I used to go around telling people, listen, there was only one thing stronger than the hammer, and that's the chainsaw.
So homeboy over here with his chainsaw thing, and he showed me the videos of Uncle Shapiro over here, and he's like, "You gotta get on TV, and you gotta be on saying like, hey, you're the hammer. Look at this guy. Money Moncy. That is going to get you money to make it being a PI attorney." And look, I'll listen to Hillel on a lot of things because there's one thing for sure. The number one bad rap for attorneys, and I'm the number one guy of that, is that we are terrible business people. You know what I mean? And if there's one thing that Hillel is a fantastic business person, which is where my next question is going to come from. Being with your business acumen, why'd you go to the state attorney's office?
I really just wanted the trial experience. I mean, look, I knew I wasn't going to be a lifelong prosecutor, but look, I mean, I got to meet great people like both of you and everyone else that was in our division and the judges and really make some great relationships. But the real reason I stepped foot in the door was to get that trial experience. You know, when I was there, I don't remember if I tried 20, 30, 40 cases. You know the story, you hop in and they hand you a box. And, you know, most people start off in DUI, and I took a little different route, which I normally do, and I went straight to third-degree juvenile felonies.
Yeah, you two were like the juvie kings, bro.
How about all
Like
that?
I don't know. Yeah, well, bro,
I wasn't the
both
king
you
of
guys-
shit, dude. I was just trying to survive over there.
I was definitely just getting bossed around, you know?
But both of you guys were in juvenile. That's not like the normal route. Like I started off like in misdemeanor, essentially mistrying my first case on day number 1. You know what I mean? Breaking the golden rule and whatnot. You guys are in juvie, and this is what people don't know about juvies. You're not like you're not. There's no jury trials. You guys are over there. You're trying your cases before a judge, and then they throw you into felonies, and you guys are trying these cases in front of juries. And the hardest part about jury trial is picking a jury. So how was it transitioning for both of you guys from like juvenile over to felony trial unit where you had to go pick juries?
For me, I did a ton of moot court in undergrad. I competed, and as you guys know, you're getting grilled by a panel of judges that are educated and that are interrupting you and hitting you with questions. So for me, talking to 30, 40, 50 people on a, prospective jury panel of an IRO, whatever you want to call it, and you can control it and you can run the show. And for the most part, people are pretty polite and they're not interrupting you. It's kind of a walk in the park by comparison. So it didn't really faze me. I enjoyed it as opposed to be like, get 2 words out of my mouth and some judge be like, I don't understand your argument, counsel. I'd much rather be talking to average Joes and tell them, that the elements of the case are like making a BLT sandwich and whatever other spiel I used to do back in the day.
Yeah, for me, the way I like to learn is, I like to watch first, listen, watch, learn Moncy, like from people like you, because, you were there before us and other people in our division. So kind of look, watch how you guys do it, and then do it myself. Like I need to do it myself to learn. So I just like to see people like you do it, learn from what you're doing, and then, add my own tweaks to it.
Yeah, I steal the shit out of everybody's stuff. Just plagiarize the shit out of it.
You're paying homage and complimenting them.
Yeah. Whatever term you want to use.
I don't even think that's what it is, man, because it's hard to like steal other people's spiel. You know what I mean? It's hard to be somebody else. You got to find what other people do and then make it your own. Because if you go and you try to use other people's shit, you're gonna look phony as shit, and the jury's gonna hate you.
You got to be authentic.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like if you ever watch the movie Gladiator, right? He says, "Win the crowd, win your freedom." And, you know, Moncy, you know Jeffrey Gittimore, who's, one of the best all-time selling sales authors, trainers in the world, 17 New York Times bestsellers, rewrote, Dale Carnegie's material, go to Barnes & Nobles. He's got every books in the sale division. But he said something that always sticks with me. And he said, all things being equal, people want to do business with people they like. All things not being equal, people still want to do business with people they like. Make a sale, make a commission. Make a friend, make a fortune. So I don't care if you're picking the jury, if you're trying to get clients for your law firm, whatever it may be, you got to get people to like you. And the only way people are going to like you is if you come off as yourself. And listen, not everybody is going to like that self, but at least you're being authentic.
It's hilarious that you say that, because in every depot prep session I do with my clients, the first thing I explain to them is juries give money to people that they like. Every time. That's how I'm explaining to them. Like, so if you tell the truth and you're likable, the defense is going to be worried.
Not only that, going back to where we all met, where we all became like buddies, and got to know one another in front of SCAP. God rest his soul.
Which, by the way, I think was 20 years ago?
20. Yeah. Longer than that, maybe now, man. It's crazy.
Makes me sound old,
You are old, bro. You just got to embrace
We are old.
No, not me, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't age. I'm like a fucking vampire over here, all right? Just losing my hair. It's all good, though. But, dude, SCAP, used to always say this, and I this is like the one thing that I carry with me every time I'm in front of a jury. You got to make the jury like you. Because if they like you, they're not going to want to come with a verdict that's against what you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
So it's the most important part of trial of trial work. It's I think it's the number one tenet. And I think everything, it just kind of like melds together here from what all three of us are saying.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with anything, right? Whether it's your team members, right? Whether it's your clients, whether it's the jury, you got to get people to like you.
And if somebody likes 100%. You, they're going to find a way to help you out. Even if it causes them more work half the time. They're like, guy seems like a good guy. I want to do right by him.
But it also goes back to the whole business thing that you were talking about that Jeffrey Gitmer was telling you. And we'll get into Jeffrey right now, because I actually have like a funny story, and I'm going to bring it totally back around for you with Jeffrey, all right? But that's like the number one tenet. It's like you get to know somebody when it goes to business. You get to know somebody, you get to like them, and then you get to trust them. And if you trust them, you'll do business with them. And that's important in our field, in any business, right? And being that we all run our own firms, it's very, very important that we live by these tenets. To bring it back to what you were saying about Jeffrey, I want to ask you one question, Hillel. How you doing today?
Standing.
All right, man. So why is it that you always start your day when somebody asks you how you're doing, that you say you're doing outstanding?
I think, the words you speak matter. And, you have to visualize something. You have to speak it and speak it into existence. And, you can get up every day and say, I'm going to have a good day or a great day. Not a good day or a bad day, a good day or a great day. And I'm going to have a great day. And you can get up and say the cup is half full or it's half empty. Mine's going to be half full. Look, it can always be better. It can always be worse, but you got to be positive. And, everything starts with the positive mental attitude. My buddy calls it PMA, positive mental attitude, but so important. I mean, first of all, nobody wants to be around a downer. I mean, I remember my buddy, from law school, and he was just, every time you see him, he was so happy. And that stays with me 25 years later, just always a positive guy. People want to be around positive people.
I agree with that. But how about this? And I think you showed me this video by Jesse Itzler. He he started Marquee Jets, sold it over to Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett and the whole crew over there. I'm going to put it here in the background. We'll see it at some point in the video. The words you speak matter.
Then I heard of a guy named Chad Wright, a Navy SEAL, talking on a podcast of how he took a guy at the starting line of a 100-mile race that had only run 5 miles and got him all the way to the finish line of the 100-mile run by saying, "I will not quit, I will not quit, I will not quit." I said, "That's impossible, man. I've been running my whole life. Nobody could show up at the starting line of a 100-mile run with 5 miles of experience and run 100 miles. But this guy's a Navy SEAL on a very big podcast. I doubt he's lying." So I cold call him. Create your own luck. I get him on the phone. I tell him my problem, man. I'm stuck at 38 miles. He says, "I can fix that for you in 2 days."
And in that video, he starts talking about trying to do this race where you're doing like 4-mile loops within an hour. All right. You're doing these loops within 4 miles. You got an hour. The amount of time that you finish it, you have that much time to rest before you start back up and you keep running those circles to get 4 miles. He'd always get stuck on mile number 38. And he's like, "What's wrong with me?" So he goes out and he gets himself this Navy SEAL called Chad Wright to come in here and teach him how to break that threshold, that plateau that he was not able to break. All right. So Chad Wright comes in and he gives him like 3 separate things about like how you're going to go about breaking these things. And my bad, guys, my phone doesn't stop ringing. And I thought like I shut this thing off. But
Fucking Hollywood over here.
Moncy money, getting those dollars.
Powerful. Listen, it's like Ari Gold, man. It's the bat phone, dude. It's the bat phone.
You do remind me of Ari Gold.
I get that sometimes from some people. Cuban version, I guess, right? So Chad Wright, he shows up. He's a Navy SEAL. He gives him 3 things to Jesse Itzler, right? He goes, "We are never going to give our pain a voice." So that's the positive attitude like you're talking about, Hillel. We're not going to talk about like all these things about how it's hurting me and how we're not going to be able to do this thing, right? Number 2, we're not going to die on the chair, which means we're going to do everything we can. It's either you're going to do it or you're going to fall flat on your face trying to get it done. And that reminds me of like, kind of like what my favorite tennis player, and Ian knows this. I'm a Nadal guy. Ian's like a Federer guy. Hello, I know you're not into sports at all, even though you live like in the sports capital of Boca Raton over there, Woodbridge Country Club, with like Tommy Paul, warming up, and all sorts of tennis pros in the Miami area, or in the South Florida area, just doing their thing over there. But you ain't into it, even though you got family members who may or may not own Manchester United and the Tampa Bay Bucks. But that's a different story, right?
That sounds like some good stories to me.
Wow. There may be some family members, whatever. So Rafa always said he's dying, and he's like in the 4th round. He's in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open, and he is just hurting. And his coach, Uncle Tony, who's his uncle, goes, "Hey, retire." He goes, "Tony, yo no me retiro por nada, ni me estoy cagando." And what he means by that is like, I'm not retiring even if I'm shitting myself. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to number 2, what Chad Wright was saying in this thing, for Jesse Itzler to go, break through and get to this point, to complete this and get the 100 miles. So then the third thing is we're going to be grateful. It's going to be we're going to live with gratitude that we're out here and we're running. We're actually able to do this whole thing. And the funny thing is, and this is how I'm going to wrap it back up to your boy Jeffrey over here, all right? At that point in time, Jesse is like, Chad, don't give me this hokey shit. I don't want to, I don't want to deal with this hokey shit. I don't want to deal with this whole positive vibes thing at this point about being like grateful or whatever. But at the end of the day, he starts running. He's like, yeah, I got to be thankful that I'm able to do this. So wrapping it back up and bringing it over to Jeffrey, all right? In that statement, Jesse Itzler is like 50 some odd years old. He goes, I'm going to take some 58-year-old man or 50 some odd year old man to finish this race. If you look at Jeffrey's book, all right, and I believe the little golden book of yes attitude, all right, this is a book he wrote in 2006. At that point, Jesse Itzler's in his 30s. And you know what he's talking about in that book? Your boy over there, Hillel? He's talking about positive vibes, right? Positive attitude, all right? And a yes attitude. And how attitude is, guess what? Hokey. And that it's hokey's okay. So wrapping it back up, it's funny how like you meet people in this world that vibe with like your overall thing. Like for you, you live by this mantra: the words you say matter, right? What Jesse Itzler in this video, what Chad Wright put together, it resonates with you. And I know you introduced it to me, and now it resonates with me, and you've passed it on to me. And here's your good friend in 2006 writing about it in one of his books. And here we are now, man, just talking about it.
And both brilliant people. I mean, first of all, I've had the opportunity to see Jeffrey speak, a few times live. I actually, at the last one, I introduced him on stage and got to spend some time just getting to know him in the green room. Super good guy. He'll text me once in a while. We'll text. I mean, just nice human being. Obviously, Jeffrey, very, very smart people, but, Jesse's, I mean, they're both unbelievable speakers. Jeffrey's one of the best people I've ever seen speak on sales. If he ever does a seminar, you should attend one, or somebody should, or look him up and watch his videos on YouTube. And same thing with Jesse. I mean, one of the best speakers I've ever heard. I mean, he brings his own DJ, he makes it fun, but just super good vibes.
Well, yeah, Jesse's DJ, I swear to God, he's like pumping 8 Mile in the back of it. And you'd be like all over, you'd be like, bump, 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 bump.
I've seen the video, and back when I used to exercise, that "Till I Collapse" was my favorite Eminem song since it came out in 2003. So when he dropped that beat, I was like, okay, I can get down with this. But I definitely love what he said. I mean, there's a couple other things that I always kick myself in the ass with, which is, perspective of like, just when you think it couldn't get any worse, things are going wrong. I try to think about all those other people, whether it's a St. Jude's commercial on TV or whatever else maybe. And like, there's always something that could be absolutely worse. And it pushes me to say, man up. Like, what you're dealing with isn't that bad. This will pass. And I think it dovetails in with what he says, like, shut that voice up. Don't give that pain a voice,
My dad used to call it is, you go to the restaurant and, my wife may say, what's the soup of the day? My dad would call it the crisis du jour, right? Like, something's going to happen, right? We know it's going to happen. And we get all crazy. Whatever that something is, we get all crazy. But it's really not that big of a deal in the big perspective when you look at it compared to everything. And guess what? You're going to get through it, and something else is going to happen, and then something else is going to happen. It never ends. And I always tell myself, like, hey, how many problems have I had in the past? I mean, thousands, right? Tens of thousands. I don't know. I have a 100% track record of getting past every single problem.
Problems is just how you get from point A to point B, man. I mean, I remember like there was a point, and you didn't have this, Ian, because you and Mel were always like in a good spot. But I remember a part where we were both in SCAP, and me, both, and Hillel were going through like broken hearts at one time. We're like, fuck, man, we're just like two sad sacks just sitting in there.
That is attorney privilege. If you ask me, my wife's the first girl I ever met and the last girl I ever met.
I bet that's what she makes you say, bro. My wife knows better, bro. My wife's still trying to find ways to kick me out of the house, bro. I'm probably being surveilled right now. There's like a
wife why don't you start a podcast? You can stay at work a little later, you know?
Yeah, right. More along the lines like, hey, dude, she's got that Apple phone. I mean, that might have been her that was calling me. I didn't even check. I was just freaking out when the phone started ringing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm in trouble. Like, find my iPhone. She knows exactly where I'm at all times, bro.
Hey man, again, it's all perspective. It could be worse.
My son, he's 10, but he used to call me. He'd be like, Dad, you're driving over a bridge. I didn't even think about it. I wasn't even putting two and two together. And then one day I was like, yeah, I am driving over a bridge. I think I was coming back from the Keys or something. I don't know what I was doing. And he's like, oh, you're here. He's been tracking me the whole time. I mean, since he's God knows how old, you know?
I don't know why kids love that. They love to be like, oh, they're, even if it's delivery dudes, they want to know, show me where the driver is, you know?
Yeah, I only do that when I'm looking for Domino's pizza, bro. I'm like, where's the pizza at, bro? What's taking this dude so long, bro? I want my pan pizza. Wait, so Hillel, how's he tracking you? He's 10 and he has a phone already?
Listen, he's had a phone for 5 years.
He's closing deals like his dad.
100%. If you asked him 5 years ago, hey, when you make $3, where does the money go? He'll tell you. Dollar number one goes to Dad for expenses. Dollar number two goes to invest, and dollar number three is for him to do whatever he wants.
Shit, bro. This is how I know I'm doing something wrong when a 10-year-old fucking got more money than me. I gotta figure this out, bro.
Listen, I'm totally serious here. I'm not even joking. I'm all about financial literacy, and it's never too early to learn. My son, and we just had a group text message now, me and my wife and a couple financial advisors. My son goes every 3-4 weeks, and he has an account, and he meets with a financial advisor. And I tell him, I won't go with you. Mom will drop you off. She won't go in with you. If you ever want to ask me a question, I'll give it to you. But you make the decisions with the financial advisor. And it's funny, I was out to dinner with the financial guy, a week or so ago. And of course, my son's texting me, can I come? So he comes with me to dinner. And we're at dinner, and the financial advisor says to my son, he says, what's an IPO? My son's like, oh, hey, give me an example. Oh, okay. So you got to teach him young, man.
Hey, he's got an opinion on whether or not I should buy SpaceX right now or not. I mean, should I just be texting him and hey, bro, you got any stock tips for me?
We're not allowed to give investment advice, but just follow his screen.
This kid's gonna be managing a hedge fund by the time he's 15, killing it.
Good for him. But see, this is what I want to get at as well. You now do asset protection. You transition immediately from the state attorney's office to start your own firm to do asset protection. What made you move from a prosecutor to that?
Yeah, so a few reasons. Number one, I felt like there were so many lawyers in every city trying to find a way to take your money. There's 100 million lawsuits every single year. There's a 1 in 4 chance you'll be sued in the next 12 months. The average person in business gets sued 5 times over their lifetime. You're 7 times more likely to face a lawsuit than a car accident. And I just felt like, we live in a very litigious, frivolous society. One lawsuit can wipe you out. And it may not even be that you do anything. It may be that your kid's driving your car or your employee does something. So I just said to myself, you know what? There's so many lawyers in every city trying to find a way to take your money. I thought it'd be pretty cool to be one of only a few in the entire country that teach you how to protect it. And I joke. I say I am the lawyer that hates lawyers. And, also from a business perspective, I liked that it was a niche. Not many people did it. And I've always loved business, and I felt like it was the perfect marriage between business and law.
Okay. So how'd you come to that conclusion? How did you find yourself a mentor? Because I think in law, it's hard to just start cold turkey. You can't just go read the statutes. You just can't go read the book and say, this is what I'm going to do. Who did you find, and how did you get into that business to kind of mentor you to do this?
When I came in the front door, they said no, so I went in the back door. When they said no, I dug a tunnel. When they blocked me, I slid down the chimney like Santa Claus. And, I'm not joking. I mean, I went and told this guy I want to work for you. And I'm giving you the super short version. He's like, oh, you seem great, but I don't need anybody. I said, okay, I'll work for free for 6 months. If I'm not the best lawyer you had, we part ways. He goes, let me think about it. He comes back, tells me no. I said, okay, you won't hire me, you won't let me work for free, I'm going to hire you. He goes, what do you mean? I go, here's a check, I'm your client, now you have to meet with me. And I built this relationship with him, you know, and there were conferences. I made sure I stalked him. I made sure I was at the same flight as him. I made sure I stayed at the same hotel as him. I had breakfast with him. I had lunch with him. And again, I got him to like me. And over the course of a year or two, we built this relationship. And, you know, he was much older. And, you know, he pretty much said, you know, there's a time in every man's career to go up and a time in every man's career to go down. This is your time to go up. This is my time to go down. I didn't even know what he was talking about. He said, he was in Boca, I was in Fort Lauderdale. He said, it's a Hail Mary pass. Let's give it a shot. I don't play sports. I don't know what a Hail Mary pass is. I said, what do you mean? He said, pretend you're on a cruise ship and the captain died. Here's the keys to my office. You're a 50-50 partner. So the guy who wouldn't hire me, the guy who wouldn't let me work for free, the guy that I hired to protect my assets when I had no assets, ultimately gave me half of his practice.
And did he teach you how to become this, you know, world-renowned asset protection attorney that you are today?
Yeah, so before him, I had my own practice, and I was doing great. You know, I was representing a lot of guys from the Heat and a lot of public figures, NFL, NBA guys, but nothing trumps experience. And the minute I started working with him, I was dealing with 5, 10, 15 clients every day, and you can't buy that experience. So he mentored me, taught me a ton.
Awesome. So what would you say now is the secret to your success and how you built upon that practice from like learning it from your mentor?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you got to invest in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You know, if you don't have the confidence, you know, in yourself, nobody's going to have the confidence with you. And, you know, you got to surround yourself with great people, whether that's, you know, employees, team members, you know, in your office, whether that's friends outside of your office. But, you know, you got to be around the right, positive, can-do, successful people that want to grow and want to help you grow.
All right. So what do you do on a day? And not only that you're just an asset protection attorney, you're a businessman. You're like Jay-Z likes to say, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So what other businesses are you involved in besides running your own law firm?
Yeah, so, you know, I love business. I've actually bought and sold law firms. Last law firm I bought and sold had about 80 people and 13 locations. Did very well there for a while and actually ended up selling that firm back to the original owner. So I bought a few law firms, but I've been involved in any business you can imagine. I own part of a business brokerage where, you know, we sell people's businesses. I buy as much real estate as I can. I love the peer-to-peer space, you know, helping other people grow. But I just love business and entrepreneurship in general. And I say I'm a lawyer by trade, but I'm an entrepreneur by heart.
Yeah. I think you are definitely that, man. I think you're definitely that. And like, especially like when you were saying, when you found your mentor about first you tried the front door, then you tried the back door, and then you dug the tunnel. I think you've given me many ideas on how I could get into like business and like go different routes along those ways. But
So everyone's so worried about the money, you know, and to me it's crazy. Like you go spend, I'm just making it up, $200,000 in college, you know, then you spend another $150,000 at law school, and again I'm just making up numbers, right? But then you walk into the office and you're worried about how much you're going to make. You just spent $350,000, and you're worried are you going to make $70,000 or $100,000 or $80,000 or whatever the number is. You're going to learn more working with me for 1 week than you just learned the last 7 years. So my question is, what do you mean you're worried about your salary? How much are you going to pay me? And I'm joking, right? I'm not going to have them pay me, but I was willing to pay. If I wanted to be a basketball player, I'd ask Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whoever it is to train me, and I'd pay them. I want to be trained by the best. But everybody is so short-sighted, they're worried about how much am I going to make today or this year. Don't worry about that. You know, you can make $10 an hour, and if you're the best team member and I don't pay you more, you're going to leave. Or I could pay you $100,000 a year, but if you're terrible, you're gone in 2 weeks. So you got to just get that door cracked, get your foot in the door, and prove your value. But the best thing you could do, whatever it is, like, Moncy, I know you got side hustles, right? Like, you got the clothing business. Well, I'd want to, and again, I don't know much about the clothing business, but, I'd want to go learn anything and everything I could about the clothing business, whatever that clothing business is that would equate to yours, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find factories in like different parts of the world so I don't have to like pay the wholesale market rates that I'm paying right now to get these shirts.
You go to someone who's done it before, right?
Or people that know people that may own the factory, right? The rest of it, you can figure it out on your own. But, a lot of people don't like to give up the secret sauce. So finding like a good mentor is very, very, very rare. And finding one is invaluable. Like you said, it's priceless.
You don't find a mentor. You earn a mentor. Okay?
I like that.
And let me tell you something. You don't go up to someone and say, hey, will you be my mentor? Yeah, maybe they say yes or maybe they no. But what do? You get them to like you. You build that relationship. One of my best friends is Damon John from Shark Tank. Okay? Let me tell you something. Nicest guy in the world. You think he knows where to source stuff? I mean, the guy started FUBU, right? He would love to help people. He's not trying to keep the secret to himself. The more successful somebody is, the more they want to help somebody else. The people that don't want to help are the people that are really not successful. When have you seen someone who was 1,000 times more successful than you talking bad about you? Never. They're there to help you. You know what I mean? And maybe not everybody, but certainly the majority.
So long as they have a good heart. There's plenty of people who don't give a shit about you.
But I think it's a confidence thing too, Mons. Like, you and I talk shop all the time. Technically, we are competitors, but I know I work very hard and I'm pretty good at what I do. And you work very hard and you're pretty damn good at what you do. So it doesn't faze us to help one another. And it wouldn't faze us to help somebody else because we know we're always going to do well and have clients because we're good at what we do.
Friendly competitors. There's enough to go around. Like, the asset protection industry is not big. There's other people that do it. I mean, I don't have problems with anybody. I want them to be successful. I want to be successful. They do things a little different than I do, whatever it may be, but I don't have any enemies in the industry. I mean, we're all friendly. Yeah, we're all friendly competitors, but I don't care. That guy gets the case. This guy, I don't care, What can we do to help the client?
Yeah. And I've never understood the, negative energy and I've seen it from very successful people. My former employer, when I left, I left very quietly and said a lot of things like, oh, he's going to, anybody that came to work for me, like, you're going to be unemployed in a month. That was 3 years ago. So,
Okay, I get it. It's time to make your own path. What kind of deal can we work out? Hey, when you get those hard cases and you don't know what to do, why don't you send them to me?
Maximize the relationship,
Oof. I don't think you've been a part of the cutthroat, big PI law firm business. They ain't want to be your friends. They don't want to keep the relationship. They're trying to like squish you, bro. They're trying to like cut you and kill you, man. It's crazy. I've never met the biggest assholes in my life I've ever met have run these big PI firms. Not all of them. There's one that I think is the best, and I love him to death, and he refers me stuff to litigate. But I've met everybody, like pretty much everybody else along the board, and they're fucking cocksuckers, bro. They're cocksuckers. Why? Because they want more. It's kind of, I'll give you the example. All right. The Second Wall Street, right? With Shia LaBeouf and what's his name?
Money Never Sleeps.
Money Never Sleeps.
Yeah. Great movie.
And they're great movie. It's all Wall Street movies, all Oliver Stone movies. They're great, right? And he goes to him, what's your number? And he goes to Josh Brolin, what's your number? You know what he says? More.
Let me tell you what I grew up on. So, I'm Jewish, okay? We were never, like, so religious. I mean, we bounced back and forth, like, reform to conservative. So we did different things. Some people may think that's religious. But I'll never forget my dad, growing up, he would always say, he who is a rich man, he who is happy with his portion. You're happy with what you have. He who is a rich man, he who is happy with his portion. And about 20 years later, after hearing this, I said to my dad, I said, Dad, for the last 20 years, I misheard you. I thought you said he who is a rich man, he who is happy with his Porsche.
Yeah. That seems to be where you were at, bro. Because you were wheeling and dealing. Even when we were at the state attorney's office, bro, you were slinging wristwatches, bro. You were like a gray market dealer, bro. I've never seen anything in my life.
But I'll tell you what, though, like the thing I noticed between the folks like you're talking about, Mons, where it's like it's never enough, it's cutthroat, they hate the competition. Whereas, like, Hillel seems to be growing and flourishing, but I see him doing it as a labor of love. Like, he enjoys the entrepreneurial side of it. It's not because he's sitting there saying it's never enough, it's the money. He truly enjoys, like, being in it and doing that.
The money is the scorecard. The money tells you, did you do it right or did you do it wrong? And we had a great day today at my office. I mean, a phenomenal day. And I'm in my, 30 minutes before this podcast, I'm in my director of operations, office. And she's like, let's just smile. Let's celebrate. Like, what a day we had today. And I'm just like, look, I'm just got my head down. I'm just working. Like, I love the hunt. Yep. The kill is nice because, you know you did it right. But, you got to do it because you love it. If you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life. I really believe that. And, look, you can always have more. You can always have less. And I believe me, for a big part of my life, it was never enough. It was never enough. It was never enough. Believe me. But, that'll kill you. And it's just, you got to be happy with what you do. And look, we all want to strive to do better, but we can't let that become us because then you're so focused on it. And, again, it's those positive vibes. You got to just have the right attitude,
Right. You got to love the process. And I think that's what it is. And anything and everything that you do, even when you go to like these, into sports, like I love using sports analogies. You got to love the grind, and all these athletes, if you ever tell them, and the most successful ones, and even in like book after book after book, you have to enjoy the work that takes to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
The best part,
Yeah.
Those suffer a lot though. they gotta enjoy the suffering.
But you can see it too, like when it's transitioned to that person of like they would almost do it for free. When you look back at the old adage, I can't remember who the boxer was that said like it's hard to do road work when you're sleeping on silk sheets. So when you see that person who's made it and they've got enough money to live lifetimes over again, and they're still on it and they're still on that hustle, it's because they love it.
And I will tell you, good is the enemy of great. You do good enough, like you say, you get fat and lazy. You're on, as you said, the silk sheets. Good is the enemy of great. Because, you got enough money to go to dinner or whatever that thing is that you want to do, pay your rent. You know what I mean? And then, okay, well, now I got it. I don't have to hustle as much,
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because we've had this conversation. And I'm like, dude, if I just looking to make this much more, and you're like, fuck that. You're looking to make this much more. I'm like, no, man.
And once he makes that much more, he wants to double it, Because, again, it's not the money. It's the game. It's the hustle. Either you got that spirit in your stomach or you don't.
Yeah. And achieving the goal can be so addictive as well. Whether it's something so minute or something huge, saying you did it, and it's like, what's the next challenge? It might not even be a monetary thing. It might be running 100 miles. Who knows? That ain't gonna be me.
Well, hey, here's the problem with our business, and this is kind of where you're right, Hillel. It's not like we got this constant flow of business. Like we're not charging this retainer where everybody's paying something once a month, and we're asking them to like pay us, every year. It's like we settle a case, we got to go hunt for a new case, man.
Me too.
I know, I get it. See, but you're dealing with wealthy individuals. You know what I mean? And you.
How do you think they got wealthy?
You tell me, bro. Give me the
by not spending money.
Yep.
I had a guy sitting in my office today. The guy's probably worth $50 million, and he was looking at one of the numbers, and he's like, "I know I need to do this," but he's like, "I don't want to write that check," and I'm like, Now he did ultimately do it, but even with $50 million.
It's crazy.
So I got to ask this, Hillel. With all these people, $50 million clients, more or less, whatever, just all this money, without naming names, what's like the craziest asset you've had to find a way to protect? Just the weirdest, coolest, whatever it may be, where you're like, you got what? A giraffe? You want me to do what with that?
You got a Picasso?
Oh no, they all have. I mean, everyone's got a Picasso.
Oh, yeah.
No, no, and I'm teasing. But no, I mean, you get jaded. I mean, look, I've helped thousands and thousands of people. I mean, I've protected anything you can imagine. I'm talking from the things that you think about, like money in the bank, real estate, ownership interests in companies, comic book collections, gold, silver, crypto, boats, planes, art. I mean, you name it, I've protected it.
That's wild, man. I can't even imagine the stories. And like,
How about this?
keeping a straight
What was
face
it?
when you're going through the inventory, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can handle that. Sure, I've seen that before. Like,
Being that, and I think that's a good question. What's the one that kind of piqued your interest on things that you're interested in? Like, could it be like you're saying like everybody's happy with their own Porsche? You know what I mean? Is there like a car or anything that somebody may have had that you were like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. I would love to protect these assets.
I mean, look, I see awesome things every day, and it's cool. But then you get back to your own life. Like, I'm not a car guy. You know what I mean? I'm not a car guy. I mean, I think they're nice, they're cool. I like a nice car, but I'm just not give me a two-door sports car. Like, that's just not me. I think they're cool when someone pulls up in a crazy car. They have a crazy car collection with 50 cars, underground in Switzerland. And they're cool, but it's not like I'm going out to buy one. So it's temporary. I try and stay in my own lane. Like, I got my things, like, hey, here's the things that are important to me, or here's the things that I invest in, and I'm not looking for the new shiny object. That doesn't mean I don't ever change. Sometimes when you hear something over and over and over and over again, you might dip your toe in. But I kind of got my things, and I mean, by now, I know what I like.
All right. And speaking of what you like, what is it that Hillel Presser likes? What is your hobby, if you have one? What are the things that get you up in the morning to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, I love building businesses. So I love growing businesses that currently exist. I love building new businesses. I love taking an idea of, hey, we just thought of this, to, oh my God, this is a real profitable, big time, large business, whatever it may be. And then, I'm a social guy. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't stay at the office this late. I mean, I'm here because I'm with you guys, and I love you too, and I will do anything for you. But I'm out of the office by 3 or 4 o'clock.
I got your text. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm available. If we can start early." I'm like, "Hey,
No. But for me, it's important. Like, I like to go home, spend time with the wife, with the kids. They're 5 and 10. We're early birds. You know what I mean? Like, have an early dinner, whatever it is. Like, just spend a couple hours, before 7, 8 o'clock. Get back to the house, check some emails, whatever it is. So I'm a social guy, and I love being with family and friends.
And it's funny you say that, dude. People come in my office, and my office is like a hurricane. I'm the only person who knows where anything in that office is. If somebody walks in there, it'd be like, What happened in here?" Like, how is anybody able to get any work in here done? And that's on top of all my whiskey bottles, my little putting green that I got in the office.
I got to come see it in person.
This ain't my office.
oh,
This is my
damn.
little podcast studio. If I showed you guys my office, you'd be like, "Bro, I don't want to be friends with you, bro. You are a mess."
I'm not coming to your office, but I'll come to the podcast studio.
Yeah, you're invited anytime. So I go in there and people tell me all the time, "Bro, why don't you sit there and before you leave, create that atomic habit of like cleaning your office for like 30 minutes before going home?" And I'm like, "Well, listen, time's my most valuable commodity, and if I spend 30 minutes cleaning my office, that's 30 minutes less that I have with my kids, and they're gone. They will be gone in 10 years. They will be in college, and all that time is gone. Maybe at that point, in like 10 years, I will spend that extra 30 minutes cleaning my office, and it will be pristine. But for now, a hurricane, bomb, boom, went off."
I just want to know what all these fucking papers are, bro. You ain't got a computer? Get a fucking scanner. What are you doing?
He's old school.
I'm old school, bro. I gotta look at stuff, bro. I gotta
Monty,
look at
Monty,
stuff.
how old are you now?
46, baby.
It's just
46.
tree stumps all around the
Thanks,
office
man.
from you just carving up paper all day long.
Bro, listen, my eyes are going bad. I have trouble reading on screens. You know, it's just like I need it in front of me. In front of me. Tell Claude to give me like Medcrons, bro. My Claude Enterprise. LexisNexis Medcron this thing. And I need it in 15-point font.
Well, listen, guys, it was great.
Yeah.
We got to do this again. Definitely love to hear more stories and advice from Hillel. I had a blast.
We got to get together in person.
For sure.
Absolutely. And if anybody needs any asset protection, I mean, this guy is the guru right here, man. So, like, hit me or Ian up. We're glad to put you into contact with Hillel. He'll definitely protect all your assets to make sure that scumbags like me and Ian don't take your shit.
Bro, I'm just trying to get some assets to protect. Don't be judging me.
You said it, Monty, not me.
Oh, I said me, the attorney, bro. I got a couple collection cases right now. I mean, if you own, you may or may not own a car dealership over there in West Palm Beach. The big moms may be going after.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you having me. It was a real fun time, and let's definitely do it again soon.
Absolutely,
All right,
fellas.
bro. You're the man.
Be good.